Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode. I got 5 cards that are suggestions for Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. If you have decided to choose this crazy powerful wolf, probably one of the top commanders in all of Commander right now, and you haven't played it, you do not know the sheer power and force that it brings to the table. I'm telling you, currently we have a friend in our pod that is wielding Voja, the Jaws of the Conclave, and this wolf is just it's terrifying because all the removal is expensive. All your targeted removal to get rid of this commander is expensive. A Swords to Plowshare costs 4 mana. Let me read the card's ability so you get a little sneak peek in the power of Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. Anyway, it's a 5/5 wolf legendary creature for 2 red, green, and white. That is Naya colors. Anyway, Voja has Vigilance, Trample, Ward 3. Ward 3 is the painstakingly problem your opponents will have when they want to remove Voja. Anyway, whenever Voja, Jaws of the Conclave, attacks, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control. Okay, we got a little bit of elf synergy here. Then also draw a card for each wolf you control. Voja is a wolf, so you're automatically going to draw at least 1 card whenever Voja attacks. So, just to let players know, if you haven't played with this guy, Wolf, this is Lobo, Lobo, uh, yeah, it's gonna be elf focused, wolf focused, ETB focused, and attack combat focused. And when this commander hits the battlefield, it doesn't leave. It doesn't leave. And it just makes a powerful army. So honestly, the only way to really get rid of this commander is by board wipes or exile board wipes. Only way. But let's start off with the first cards to get you started if you're looking to spice it up a little bit with your commander here. Voja Johnson Conclave. First card. First card we have here is Annie Joins Up. It is for 1 red, green, and a white. Naya colors legendary enchantment. It says when Annie joins up into the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. That's good. That is creature removal for 4 mana. And that can definitely wipe out most planeswalkers when they first hit the board. It also says if a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So when we pair this with Voja, all those +1/+1 counters get an additional trigger, and you get an additional trigger of drawing a card if you meet the criteria of either playing a elf or a wolf. Yeah, what I really want to say about this card, this just synchronizes with Vojo effectively, effectively, and this is an affordable card to give you an additional trigger. A lot of cards in Magic that give you an additional trigger are pretty expensive. And this one's actually pretty niche because it is Naya colors, and guess what? Voja the Conclave is a Jaws of the Conclave is a Naya color commander, so this is a no-brainer. Next up, we got Howl Pack Resurgence. I'm giving you 2 cards up front because I'm trying to change it up a little bit. I want to give you something a little bit new, y'all. Howl Pack Resurgence for 3 mana is an enchantment. Flash. I pause because Flash, you could play it on anybody's turn, anytime. So it says each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf gets +1/+1 and has trample. So if you try to be advantageous and play it during your combat, during and use it as a combat trick, at least Voja gets +1/+1, making it a 6/6 with trample, vigilance, ward 3. My God, even though I believe, yeah, come on, what are we doing here? But this is also good for your other wolves that you have on the battlefield. Must add. So our third card for today or for this video, I'm not gonna lie, I'm in the hoodie because it's this crazy Arctic weather here in the southeast. I don't even know what's going on, man. The apartment's not cold, but just feel cold. Anyway, Bailoff Beartool Entertainer 4 and a red, 5 mana total, 2/5 elf shaman, legendary creature. So already it triggers um, Voja. Anyway, creatures your opponents control with power less than Balef's Barato's power are goaded. They attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. What I really want to say about Goad, if you never played Goad before or used this mechanic, you probably don't know how powerful it really is. It forces your opponents to attack each other until it's a 1v1. And when you're forced to attack and you're not ready, you're going to lose creatures that you don't want to play or that you didn't want to lose. And, consequently, those are effects that possibly can happen that you don't want to happen. Anyway, gold pretty much causes chaos. It's definitely, I'm a fan of it definitely because I do like chaos across the board. Otherwise, it's advantageous to open up players' defenses because they have to attack. And now they do not have any blockers unless they played a creature the previous turn. Anyways, back to Baloth. Whenever a goaded attacking or blocking creature dies, you create a treasure token. So now we have what? Mana generator with a treasure token and a Naya color commander. This is great. This is really good. Uh, just know that your opponents will eventually target this, and they're not going to let you just generate tokens all willy nilly, just advantageously because they're losing creatures to combat and you're not being attacked. You know how crazy that sounds? You're not being attacked. Your creatures of your opponents are going at each other, and you're making treasure tokens. They're not going to let that fly for long. Choose a background. We don't need to know that ability. Not for Voja. But yes, Baloth, Baratul Entertainer, highly recommended. Elf Shaman meets the criteria for elves in play with Voja. So first off, I want to start off with the Naya colors in general, right? Uh, if you're going to play with this type of commander, you have to be comfortable with playing a lot of permanents. Okay, you got to be comfortable playing with a lot of permanents. I say that because Spellslinger players, Grixis colored players, uh, probably are used to just having one creature on the battlefield and a card and a handful of cards with spells that they can do stuff with. Naya is not like that. You're just putting stuff on the battlefield and you're building your board state and you're trying to end the game. Anyway, moving on to Guardian Scalelord for 5 CMC, 3/4 body, dragon. It does have flying. If your dragon doesn't have flying, I don't know what's wrong with it. Get rid of it. Anyway, it has the ability Backup 1. When this creature enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn. Okay, then it says whenever this creature attacks, okay, return target non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield where X is this creature's power. So if you used the backup on Guardian Scalelord, it becomes a 4/5. Therefore, you can return a non-land permanent with mana value of 4 or less to from the graveyard to the battlefield. Super powerful. This is like this dragon makes me think of the scenario when your opponents have board wiped your board state with Voja, with all those elves and wolves, and you need to get back to action. You need to be able to rebuild. This dragon will help you rebuild quickly and efficiently while having a giant body on the battlefield. Players are not really coming at you after a board wipe when you got a 3/4 flyer, maybe a 4/5 flyer. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's a reason why dragons are probably the most popular creature type out here because they're super powerful. But what I really need you to know is non-land permanents. This includes enchantments, planeswalkers, creatures, artifacts. You're probably going to be using this for your elves or wolves that you need to get back into play. And also, don't forget when your commander dies, Voja dies, you can send her to the graveyard instead of the command zone. So if you have some type of reanimation effect that costs that has a more efficient cost than in paying the commander tax, hey, put it in the graveyard and reanimate it. This is one way to do it. You just need to build up the power of Guardian Scalelord to at least 5 in order to return Voja from the graveyard to the battlefield. I wanted to share this card, Aura Shards, because we have so many new players to the game of Magic that they may not even know that this card exists. Even though this is a Selesnya staple, it is a very powerful card. This is the auto include for any green white deck minimum. So for all you new Magic players, Aura Shards has been around for a very long time and is extremely powerful. Let me read it to you. For one, green and a white is an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. This goes very well with elves because elves are low CMC creatures, and you can play a lot of them, just a lot of them, and just destroy all of your opponent's artifacts and enchantments on the battlefield. This card is really good when you save it for maybe like the mid game, probably like turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, where players have board states and they may have a powerful enchantment like Parallel Lives, and they want to drop all these creature token generators and double it up. Nope, you have an answer to that. Aura Shards. It's an enchantment permanent that stays on the battlefield. Play a little 1/1 elf for 1 green mana and destroy an artifact or an enchantment and do it again and again. It only gets better when you have a creature token generator, maybe like a Verdant Force. So at the beginning of your upkeep, a 1/1 pops up, a sapling, and you can just destroy an artifact or enchantment. Eventually, you can just destroy your opponent's mana rocks and powerful enchantments, and even their artifact lands. This card is it's an auto clue. So welcome to Aura Shards if you've never seen it before. It's one of the most powerful removal engines in the game of Magic. So I think this card is underrated, okay? And I think it fits into the deck perfectly because it has elf synergy. This card is a tutor for enchantments. Let me introduce you to Moon Blessed Cleric. For 2 and a white, we have a 3/2 body on a human elf cleric. All right, it's an elf. When Moon Blessed Cleric enters, you may search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle it, and put that card on top. Cool. So you're probably thinking, what enchantments you can tutor in your Voja deck? Well, I just showed you Aura Shards. That's an enchantment. I just showed you Annie joins up. That's an enchantment. There's a bunch of enchantments that you would want to put on the battlefield and just tutor without paying a high-priced, not mystical tutor. There's another uh, tutor in the white color that's instant speed, but this is more budget friendly for sure and you get a creature out of it that triggers the elf ability on Voja. So that is really good. Also, don't forget with your Voja Jaws of Conclave, you have the white pip and you can blink creatures. Yes, you can blink creatures. So just to like brainstorm a little bit, maybe your opponent tries to remove your Voja and they actually pay the additional 3 mana because it's 4/3, and you decide to blink your commander and make them miss. Oh my gosh. I think if you're new to this commander, just play with it. You'll see how much your opponents will be struggling trying to remove this commander. And you'll see on the next game you play how many board wipes they add to their deck. So thank you for watching the video. Just to summarize Voja's Jaws of Conclave, it's a Naya colored commander, Ward 3, Vigilance, Trample, and all that other crazy good stuff. I just think mathematically, this is a tough commander for your opponents. Mathematically, it's taxing. The floor is 4 mana to remove your commander. And 4 mana, that's probably a lot of players' turn or half a turn, or it causes them to slow down their gameplay and make a commitment. Voja is a commitment type of commander for your opponents. On-site kill commander. So overall, enjoy playing with Voja. You can do what Naya does best. Make creature tokens, play with elves, give them trample, give them haste, blink them, give them vigilance. Like it gets crazy. So have fun out there building your Voja deck. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to add in the comments if anything else that you might would want to add as a suggestion for 5 cards for other players to look at. Peace.